all of us. So we'll start our practice in seated. So find a comfortable seat and feel free to cross your legs if that's uncomfortable for you. Certainly you're welcome to extend your legs or even sit up against a wall or sit in a chair for this first part of our practice. Just a little breath work so we can just start to move inside of ourselves, to take that journey inward. You might start with a few deep breaths in and out just to reacquaint yourself with your breath. You might inhale through your nose and maybe an exhale through your mouth. Feel that initial settling into self. And as you come to stillness, just begin to notice, feel, observe. Allow your breath to guide you inward. Passing through the multiple layers of yourself. As you breathe in, you might feel the breath rising upward to fill up your heart, to expand and open your lungs. And as you exhale, you might even connect to your center by drawing your navel inward towards your spine, just a light contraction of your abdominal muscles. Just that light engagement, some feeling, awareness. This presence. Continue to breathe in and out. Again, as you breathe in, just feel perhaps the lifting and lengthening of your spine. You might sit up a little taller, breath rising to fill up your lungs very expansively. And as you exhale, again, connecting to your center body, navel towards spine, a light contraction of your abdominal muscles, which we call the abdominal lock. Even with that sensation, perhaps you're already beginning to tap into your own strength and awareness of your own strength. But seeing if just this simple breath work and this practice this morning takes you even deeper than that. Take 3 more breaths just as you are. I'm just going to add a very simple movement. Whenever you're ready, we'll just inhale to extend your arms outward. Just reach across the room, reaching, stretching, and let them float up into the air. Lengthening and opening the body. As you exhale, that same connection to center, drawing navel to spine, but then extend your arms out, and let them float back down by your side. And when you complete that round, do that again. A nice inhale, extending the arms out with good effort, reaching that stretch quality in the body, reaching high, completing that full breath in, and you exhale, extending and reaching outward. Floating your arms back down. Just move at your own pace. You don't really need to follow my instruction. Just follow your own breath. So just do that a few more times on your own. Just noticing the sensations that arise within you. This effort of extension, reaching, opening. And maybe this very simple breathing and moving meditation also allows you to move deeper within. Maybe it's opening up some spaces that have been closed off or a little tight, somehow shrouded by sensation of any sort. And maybe this simple movement begins to clear that space, make an opening, so you can move deeper within. Good. Yes. Go ahead and finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. You might continue extending the arms out and up, or maybe just holding in stillness, but still breathing deeply with good intention. That's it. You're moving the body in another way that feels just right for you at this moment. And when you feel complete, maybe just letting your arms and hands just rest in your lap or down by your side, and just feel your body settle for a moment. Let's do one more seated thing here. Just going to add a simple twist. So I'm just going to mirror you. So you're going to take your right hand and just bring it back behind you a little bit, maybe just propped up on your fingertips or your palm. So you can just actually press into the ground to help maintain a nicely extended spine. And with the left hand, maybe just bring it across the body and just place it on your knee or thigh. And again, we'll inhale, pressing into the ground behind you. Feel that full length of spine. And that exhale to draw belly in gently. It doesn't have to be too strongly at all. And a slight rotation of your whole torso towards the right. And it doesn't have to be a full rotation, just a slight turn, just a little bit, just so that the body doesn't overreact to this position, but just awareness of I'm rotating, I can feel this. Good. Just holding this for a little bit longer. The intention of the rotation this morning is really to get into our hips, actually. Because we're sitting, on solid ground or on a prop, and it's just the upper body in rotation. And of course, that does affect the obliques and the sides of the body. But even thinking about how this starts to open up through the hips. Let's go ahead and take a breath in and feel even taller. Exhale, pull belly in to support your body as you now unwind and face forward. And again, just rest your arms on your lap as everything just comes back to neutral. No rush, but whenever you're ready, we'll do the other side. So maybe left hand behind you, right hand across the body to hold on to the knee or thigh. That's your setup. And then as you inhale, press into the ground behind you to help extend the spine even more. Exhale, draw belly in and a gentle rotation towards your left. Just to the point where, okay, I feel this, and I can hold here for a moment. It's not too forced at all. Good. Even an awareness of just being gentle and kind to your own body. Knowing that our bodies go through so much, have to endure so much. And if we can just take moments like this just to be mindful and careful and loving, nurturing to ourselves is always nice. Let's take a nice breath in, feeling tall. Exhale, draw belly in for support as you now unwind and facing forward when you're ready. And again, just coming back to neutral. We're going to transition to our hands and knees. Just take your time as you make that transition. If you happen to have like a blanket or something soft underneath you, and that might even mean just maybe rolling your mat underneath you just to protect your wrists and even your knees if you need that extra protection, go ahead and do that. We're just going to be here not too long at all actually, but just for cat and cow. So an inhale, whenever you're ready, just look forward or slightly upward as you create this minor arch in the back, little mini back bend. Exhaling, let's round it out. Feel the belly button pull up towards your spine, chin towards chest, broadening the back. And then just follow through. Inhale, looking forward. Feel the pelvis tip back. Belly drops a little bit. Exhale, round it all out. Navel pulls up towards spine. Feel that nice engagement. And just continue once again at your own pace of breath. And again, this flow can be very mild, if you'd like, meaning the back bends and that rounded back body doesn't have to be too forced at all. But as you feel movement in the body, and as that movement opens the body, maybe you're able to go a little bit deeper. That rounded sensation as you exhale into cat pose, or a little bit more of a back bend feel in cow pose. Yes, mindful of breath. And as you're continuing to create space within, maybe this breath is now able to just seep right into those newly opened spaces. Let's take 2 more breaths. After that second breath, just come to a neutral posture, just this little tabletop position on your hands and knees. And if you're using any props, maybe you can just set them to the side or unfold your mat. We're going to move into down dog from here. To set up, just go ahead and step your hands forward a little bit. Maybe you might even spread out your fingers just to stretch your fingers, even create a nice base, your palms opened for a nice base. As you press into the ground, strong arms, straight arms, then tuck your toes. Maybe with a good exhale, you can lift your knees and hips into the air, and that should guide you into downward facing dog. And once you're there, you might make some adjustments with your feet and your hands on your mat. You can just hold in stillness if that feels right for you. You can even add movement, which is always nice. I like to pedal my feet here, like I'm pedaling a bicycle or even walking, just to stretch through the calves. Stretch your toes. Let your knees really bend. And even if you took your feet out a little wider and continue that walking sensation, you can get into the hips a little bit. You can just kind of push your hip out to the side and then the other. If the hands get a little tired, just go ahead and come back down to your knees if you need a little quick rest. Go ahead and take 2 more breaths in and out. Coming back to a stillness in down dog for a moment. From here, go ahead and inhale and extend your right leg up behind you, reaching long. On the exhale, we're just going to bring the right foot forward up to the top of the mat. We're going to warrior 1. So go ahead and turn the left heel to the ground behind you. Even shift your weight back a little bit into that foot, so that way it's easy to lift your hands off the ground. We're just going to inhale and rise up into the air. We're going to exhale, carefully fold, and bring the hands down to the mat, and just step right back into down dog. So right foot stays on the ground, hips in the air, just a quick return to down dog. We'll do the exact same thing other side. When you're ready, inhale, fully extend left leg, reaching back, energy through your toes. Exhale, let's bring this left foot to the top of the mat. Ready for our lunge, warrior 1. Right heel plants into the floor, shifting the weight back. Lightness in the hands, so you can inhale and rise up, focusing forward, and an exhale. Just come right back down. Same thing, plant your hands, step back, right into down dog. Hold. Then look at the space between your hands and just take a walk up into that space, stepping forward, or just until your feet are flat on the mat, and you'll be in a deep forward fold for a moment. Then we're going to inhale, slide your hands up to your knees or thighs and extend your spine.
Hold here for a moment as you exhale and just notice this feeling. It's half forward fold. Feet are flat on the ground. There might be a slight bend in the knees. You want to feel like you're at tabletop so your torso is parallel to the ground. Good. Maybe a sense of your tailbone and hips moving to the back of the room, the top of your head moving to the front of the room. Then start to shift your weight back into your heels a little bit. Bend your knees and feel like you're about to sit down into a low chair. Look forward. Extend your arms out to the side. We're going to stand up, just moving into extended mountain pose. Reaching up, that nice big stretch. Then reach out and down with the arms, just like we did in seated. Yeah, bring your arms down by your side. We're going to finish here in mountain pose. Go ahead and just spin the palms forward for a moment. Yeah, just arms down by your side. And just feel that natural rotation perhaps in your shoulders. They roll back. And it just opens the heart nicely, puts you in a wonderful posture, sense of pride, connection, awareness. Very nice. Go ahead and just relax for a moment. Now that we've made it up to standing, just take a moment and just notice that, okay, I'm here. Alrighty. And as you're kind of in this little relaxed state of mind, I didn't remind you, especially folks at home, if you need some props, go ahead and grab your props. What you might need today is probably a couple of blocks for those folks that are here. If you don't have a block, what you can use is actually one of those rolled up mats over there on the counter over there if you want to use that. We're going to be using that as a way to like bring the floor a little closer to you, okay, in some of our poses. You may not need one. If you do, you can always just run over and get one. Okay. Let's go ahead and make our return to mountain pose. Samastitihi. Palms open, shoulders rolled back, opened heart. 2 breaths. Moving with breath whenever you're ready. Let's inhale, sweep the arms into the air. The effort of extending and reaching high. Exhale, let's fold forward. So you might put a bend in the knees as you make your way down. You might touch your toes, but you certainly don't have to touch your toes here. Inhale, slide your hands up to your knees or your thighs to extend your spine nice and long. Exhale, slowly fold. Enough we can bring your palms to the ground. And just start walking both feet back, step back into plank pose. We're just going to hold here for a moment, just so you can get some more length in the spine, but also being aware of this powerful position. A lot of strength involved here. And sometimes we put a lot of energy in the upper body, or actually like in the hands and arms for this pose. But see if you can send some of this energy to the back end of the body. You might even pull the hips back a little bit. Even lift the hips up a little bit. Maybe your hips are at shoulder level or even higher than that. So just so that your hands don't bear all the weight. We'll take a breath in. We'll exhale and lower ourselves down by bending the elbows. We're going to come all the way down to the ground. If you need to bring your knees to the floor first, go ahead and do that. And then just come down. We're just going to do a low cobra. Long legs, point your toes. You might even roll the shoulders back away from the ground and just barely lift the chest off the ground. There's even a sensation of gripping the mat with your fingertips and pulling yourself forward. And then reach through your toes to the back of the room. Breathe in. As you exhale, soften a little bit, coming out of that back bend. Push back to hands and knees. Tuck your toes so you can lift knees and hips for our return to downward facing dog. Let's continue. Let's inhale, extend right leg up behind you, energetically lengthening through the body. Exhale, let's bring right foot to the top of the mat, setting it down. Left heel turns to the ground behind you. Find that balance, shifting weight back behind you. Hands are light, so you can inhale, rise to warrior 1. Let's go ahead and open this to a warrior 2. Yeah, good. And then just settle in. Yeah, make some adjustments as you need to. Maybe a little wider in the stance, making sure your right knee and toes are pointing forward. You feel tall, reaching out through the arms. Love it. Good. You might look out over your right hand. If that's a little bit too much in the neck, maybe your neck is a little stiff today, and that's okay. Maybe you just want to keep your head more neutral. Let's take this to side angle. Let's modify this. We're going to make this a little simpler, a little bit. You're going to bend your right arm at 90 degrees. Bring the arm down to the thigh and let it rest there, maybe mid-thigh. And then extend your left arm up into the air. So we're just going to keep this kind of open. Yeah, just like that. Then if you'd like, follow the left hand over your head, reaching in the same direction as your right knee and your toes. And at the same time, your left foot just pressing down, yes, into the ground. Just feel that energy in that back leg. Because in this posture, a lot of energy is coming forward, okay, to the front end of the mat. You want to find a balance. So we want that same energy moving to the back end of the mat. So we can just feel that left foot ground. And that might fire up that left leg. Okay, let's breathe in. Exhale, we'll turn so we can bring the hands back down to the ground. Maybe you rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Press hands into the ground so you can slide that right foot back. That same pause in plank pose. You can even do plank on your knees if you need to, no worries. Again, if there's too much weight bearing in the hands, kind of shift the weight back. I don't know if you can see me. I'm just kind of pushing back a little bit, like through my heels. Lift the hips up a little higher, engaging belly a little bit more. And it feels like that energy just kind of evenly distributed a little bit more. Breathe in. Exhale, we're coming down, bending the elbows. You can bring knees to the floor first if you need to, all the way down to your belly. Long legs, point your toes, low cobra, roll shoulders back, engaging upper back muscles. A gentle lift. Grip the mat with your fingertips, pull like you're dragging yourself forward. Feel the legs fire up, point through your toes, reaching to the back of the room. If you want, just for a little extra credit, lift the feet. Lift the feet and reach to the back of the room. Inhale here. Exhale, soften. Push back to hands and knees. Tuck your toes. Lift knees and hips, downward facing dog. Other side. Inhale, extending your left leg straight up and back, energy through your toes. Exhale, left foot now up to the top of the mat. Take your time. Landing lightly. Right heel turns to the floor, shifting the weight back. Lightness in the hands so you can just float right up. Warrior 1 and our exhale to Warrior 2. Same thing here. Make some adjustments, settle in so you find balance, a nice centering, strength, aware of the energy flowing through the body. We're still preparing. We're really still preparing and going deeper. Creating the space so we can going a little bit deeper into the body. Let's go ahead and bend the left arm at 90 degrees as we reach forward, going into our side angle pose. So resting this left arm on mid-thigh. Right arm reaching into the air initially. Keeping the body well opened. Stay here or extend your right arm over your head, reaching in the same direction as your left foot and your knee. Extending as if you were reaching for something with this right hand, and at the same time right foot rooting into the ground, finding that balance. Breathing, letting that be the foundation of wherever you happen to be. Let's breathe in. And our exhale, carefully turning so we can bring the hands down to the mat. Rise up on your tiptoes behind you. Hands firmly pressed into the ground. Sliding left foot back. You can come down to Chaturanga Dandasana. You can go all the way down to your belly and go into low cobra if you'd like, or upward facing dog from here. So choose the back bend that works best at this moment. It could be up dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. It's going to take a moment to bring the knees down to the ground and sit back into child's pose. As you come down, you might even take the knees a little wider if you want. Extend the arms out in front. Chest might come down closer to the ground. Certainly some variations of this pose as well. If it's not conducive for the knees to bend in this way, you might even come up onto the knees a little bit. Hips are a little higher. Maybe just bring the elbows down or chest downward for puppy pose. And if your arms are extended out in front of you in child's pose, if that feels good, just stay there. You can always change that. You can even bring your hands behind you as if you're reaching for your feet. Just to relax the shoulders a little bit. This is another wonderful opportunity to go back inside of self. We've taken a moment just to connect to breath, find that expansiveness within ourselves just through the flow of breath, and then using that breath to help us move and create space. And within that space, that spatial capacity, finding balance in our bodies. Because those might be parts of the endurance that we are able to have within ourselves. When we're able to take on challenges. If we're balanced in mind and body, that might give us an incentive or the advantage when we're faced with obstacles. Take 3 more breaths. Then make your way back up to hands and knees. And then from hands and knees, maybe stepping the hands forward, again spreading out your fingers for that nice stretch between the fingers. Press your palms firmly into the ground, strong straight arms. Tuck your toes. And with an exhale, lifting knees and hips, our return to down dog. Here we're going to inhale, extend right leg up behind you. We're going to open this up. You're going to bend your knee by bringing the heel down towards your backside, just a bend of the knee, and then start lifting the knee straight up towards the ceiling. And what it does, it won't lift very high, nor does it have to, but it creates a mild rotation in the spine and opens the hips. Even flex the foot, or just give the foot some energy that's in the sky. Breathe in. As you exhale, go ahead and unwind this. Let's bring right foot to the top of the mat. Hold here for a moment in this runner's lunge. We're going to keep the left heel lifted back there behind us, because we're going to rise to a high lunge. Now, if the weight is shifting forward like mine is at the moment, same thing. You want to find that balance. Shift the weight back. I'm just pushing that left heel into the ground. Here, my hands are really light. I can easily extend arms forward, rising up, reaching into the sky. A nice lift and a lunge. Hold here for another second or two in this high lunge position. And then you're just going to bring your hands to your hips just to relax the arms and shoulders. But we're going to stay in this lunge. All right, so part of our focus today, what I wanted to focus on was on our hip flexors. So in this case, maybe left hip flexor, starting to get this nice elongation. Stretching through the upper thigh, right past the belt line, into the low belly. And with your hands on hips, even push your pelvis down, like you're trying to push downward, and at the same time, trying to lift torso upward. You might even lunge a little deeper, yeah. Notice that. To maintain balance, because I consider this a balancing lunge position, squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. You'll feel that in the inner legs. Legs fire up. Core engaged, draw belly in. With that feeling, we're going to slowly bend this left knee and come all the way down to the ground. Land lightly if you can. Now we're going to be here for a moment. Now this is where we're just going to continue this journey, just going deeper within, okay? All right, we're going to break this down, and I want you just to really pay attention to your body. You don't have to follow exactly what I do or say even, but listen to your body as far as how deep you want to go and where your body's ready to go. But let's do our setup. So yeah, fold the mat underneath left knee if you need to, if you need a little extra padding, okay? We want that protection. We also want to protect the joints. So I'm going to suggest leaning back a little bit, yeah? So you can actually move this right foot forward quite a bit, especially if you decide you're going to lunge deeply. We don't want to damage this knee. And just rest your hands on your thigh. Now you might want to have a couple of blocks on the inside of the right foot, okay? Now from here, just inhale, get that nice growth through the spine. Exhale, we'll start to lunge forward. You can see hips start to come forward a little bit. The knee will start to shift forward and start to stack perhaps over the heel or ankle, just depending how far forward you took the foot. Okay? This is part one. Wherever we stop, that's where you could stop. Okay? So if this is the end of the pose for you, stay here. All right? But I'm going to guide you deeper if you decide to go deeper. We're going to start here. And if you're nice and tall like this, if you happen to be, just check in. If you happen to be tall like this, you're creating also a back bend, okay? And if that feels fine, then stay there. If you need to get out of that back bend, just lean forward a little bit. So your torso is a little bit closer to this front thigh. All right, so that nice lengthening in that back leg, your front leg is probably fired up as well. And if you're able, if you want to go to the next step, maybe leaning forward a little bit, and maybe your left hand comes down to the ground. Or a block if you just need a little bit more height, okay? So we're just going a little lower. Inhale, get some more extension through the spine as if maybe you're going forward. And as you're able, exhaling, maybe sinking a little deeper. So your hips might just get a little heavier and sink a little deeper. Pay attention. Listen to your body. And it's okay to go deep and then realize, oh, that's too deep. And then back up, okay? Use your breath. That's your guide. That reliable resource, our foundational focal point. Now from here, our next step, before we go even lower, we're going to try something else here. Your left hand that's on the floor, perhaps, or on a block, you might even step that left hand to the left side a little bit and kind of lean in that direction. Okay? And then with the right leg, we're going to send the knee away. You're going to roll up onto the outside edge of your foot, yes? And maybe placing your right hand on the inner thigh and gently push it away. And at the same time, your upper body is trying to lean away. Like you're pushing those two body parts away from each other. Again, not forcing this. You're not pushing hard. It's just more like you're guiding the right knee to the right as you kind of lean to the left. And notice these new sensations, perhaps. I think as we get into the depths of these poses, we get into the subtleties of it. Because sometimes it all can feel the same. But if we can start to notice those minute parts, I think that's an indication of us getting a little deeper within ourselves. All right, we're going to bring that right knee back in, plant the foot, and even bring the left hand in a little bit more. Now here's where you may want to, if you'd like, to go a little deeper. I'm going to step my left hand forward, bending this left elbow to come down a little lower. So your hand might be on the ground or on that block, and if you just bend the elbow, you can bring your torso down. Now I notice when I do this, I kind of run out of space. And what I need to do to create more space is actually move my whole right foot way out to the right side. I'm just kind of heel-toeing it out to the side, even turning my toes outward a little bit. And it's going to put a lot more, or create a lot more space in this right inner thigh, where I can bend this left elbow and even bring it all the way down to the ground. Again, option for you. Remember, go to the place that feels right for you. If it becomes too intense, where it feels like your breath gets a little out of control, or you feel like you're losing control of the situation, then back up. Three more breaths. Now when it's time to move out of it, we're going to take our time, meaning move as slowly as you can. Wherever you are in this pose, whether you're low and deep like I am, or still high up, we're just going to take our time. So I'm on my elbow. I'm using my right hand on the floor to help press a little bit to start to lift so I can get my left hand back onto the mat, lifting a little higher and even pausing just so the body can get used to that. Lifting the hips and start pulling back to get out of this deep lunge. My right foot's off to the right side, so I'm just going to heel toe it back in. Yeah. Here, you're just going to carefully start to sit back, like so. So I'm just shifting the weight back as if I'm going to sit back onto this left heel. I'm not going to sit all the way down, but I am going to extend this right leg. So I'm just kind of propped up on my fingertips. You can bring in some blocks right here. Just take a little stretch in the hamstring in this front leg. And if you can, you're certainly welcome to sit all the way back, okay, if that feels okay, but certainly not necessary. Good. Three more breaths here. Still moving in slow motion, just making our way back up. You can replant that right foot firmly onto the ground and just come to a place where maybe you've formed this formation with the body. So a right angle in the right leg in front, a right angle in the left leg behind you like so. So you can easily maybe rise back up to where we originally started here with your hands on your thigh. You're going to tuck your toes behind you. Squeeze inner thighs towards each other. Feel the breath rise to fill up your lungs. Exhale to engage belly. Feeling that energy from low so we can start to press into the ground with the toes, lifting knee. Let's go ahead and extend the arms back up into the air. Now we return to this high lunge. Breathe in. Exhale, open it to warrior two. Let's extend this right leg. Straighten it out. Feel tall, and as you straighten the leg, even feel the energy rise up through the sides of the body. As you get tall through the torso, let's reach out over that right leg and just take this to triangle. Yeah. Just holding here for a few more breaths. To come out of this pose, bend the right knee just to create a lunge so you can come back up to a warrior two, like so. And go ahead and reverse the warrior. You'll take your right hand up into the air. Nice reaching sensation. This uplifting experience in the body. Then we're just going to windmill. So this back arm comes up and around. You're going to windmill, bringing both hands down to the front onto your mat. And go ahead and step that right foot back into plank pose. Completing the series as you like. You might just move right into down dog, or you can come down chaturanga, rise into up dog or cobra pose, and downward facing dog. We're going to go right into the other side. So an inhale to extend left leg into the air. Reach. Let's bend the knee. Bring the heel down towards your backside and feel the knee lift straight up towards the ceiling. Just a little bit will do. It'll create a minor rotation in the spine. You might not feel that very much, but you may feel the left hip opening, and that's what we really like. Breathe in again. Exhale, unwind. Let's step left foot up to the top of the mat. Stay in this runner's lunge. Right heel stays lifted. If the body weight came forward, we want to shift the weight back so the fingertips can easily just rise up. And then inhale, extend the arms up into the air. Reach into the sky. Lunge deeply. Hold for a moment. And then bring hands to hips. Okay, that same setup here. So again, now focusing on right hip flexor, depending on how wide you are in the stance. You might feel this already in the right hip flexor. But you're going to use your hands, push pelvis down, lift up through the torso. You might even lunge a little deeper and see if that creates some of those subtle changes in the right hip flexor. Squeeze to inner thighs to engage the legs so you feel well supported. Draw navel inward towards spine for more strength and support. And then start bending the right knee as slowly as you can, landing lightly on your mat. Here we are. Okay. That same setup. So you can just, your hands will come and rest on the thigh. Pad this right knee if you need to. Maybe with folding your mat, or if you got a blanket or towel there. Got your block set up on this side as you need it. Okay, so we're going into that lunge, so you might lean back a little bit, just wiggle the toes forward. Just create some good space so we can protect the knee joints. Then we're going to come back here. Inhale, get nice and tall. And as you exhale, there's that lunge. Maybe just taking a little bit. Take another breath in. Exhale, maybe you can go a little bit deeper, knowing that you don't have to go all at once. That it can be just small increments as you take each step forward. And again, this could be the end of the pose. Knowing that if you're still tall in the torso like this, you're also creating a little bit of a back bend. If that's a bit of an irritant in the low back, then you can just lean forward a little bit just to get out of that sensation. If you need to bring this left foot forward a bit, which is what I need to do, just to get out of this front knee. Okay, then you might even lean forward a little bit. Inhale just to get a little bit longer in the torso and spine. Exhale, maybe just sink. Just feel your pelvis here get a little heavy, and gravity kind of just takes over and just kind of sink into it. But there's still some control over it here as well. Pause and just feel this experience. Be here. And I think that's kind of the power of endurance. It's like, can you just be in the moment? Whatever it might be. Now maybe bring your right hand down to the mat or a block if you need a little bit of a lift. Same thing, you might inhale, get a little bit longer in the torso. Exhale, sink a little bit deeper. Now that you have that little extra support of the hand on the ground. You might even step that right hand forward, start bending the elbow and getting a little closer to the ground. Even if it's just a little bit, you might even just stay here. I just slightly bent my right elbow and I have come down a little bit and I can still feel this. If you're deciding to go even more and you need more space, because I know I do, I'm going to move my left foot. I'm just going to heel toe it off to the left side, way out there, and open it up. And I create so much more space so that I can actually get all the way down to my right elbow on the block. I have to have that little extra lift. And my left hand on the ground here for a little added support. Yeah. Sinking in a little deeper. I think this is where we really see the honest parts of ourselves. How we really endure situations, and those situations that just grow within us, like emotional reactions to things, or even just reacting to what's happening outside of us, how we respond. Because sometimes we just have to ride the storm. It's certainly not always our choice, but it just happens to be the situation that we're in. And what resources can you tap into so you can weather that storm? Let's take 2 more breaths. So moving in slow motion again, starting to release this deep lunge, starting to rise up. Maybe just coming up to here with the right hand on the mat. Since I forgot to add it, we can even step the right hand off to the right side, lean into the hand. Maybe you already did this. And then left hand onto inner thigh and just kind of pushing it away. So you roll out to the outside edge of the left foot. Maybe you already did this. And just getting a different sensation and awareness. That's it. Good. 3 more breaths. All right, let's come back to center. You can plant that left foot, maybe heel toe it back in a little bit. Let's bring this right hand back in. Maybe fingertips on the ground and just start to sit back. Start to sit back. Maybe finding some extension in the left leg. It doesn't have to be fully extended, and you certainly don't have to sit all the way down towards that right heel unless you'd like to. And even noticing, just as we went into these very deep positions, how was your breath? Were you able to maintain kind of these long, steady breaths, even when things got a little tough? Were you able to maintain 2 more breaths here? Just going to make our way back up. Left foot planted into the mat, lifting upper body, again resting hands on thigh. We got our right ankles in the legs, nice and tall up top. We'll tuck toes. Squeeze to inner thighs and belly so we have that strength. Maybe with an exhale, we start to lift off the ground, extending arms up into the air to help that rise in the body. Hold for a second. Inhale, and our exhale at opening to warrior 2. Lengthening the left leg as it straightens, maybe feeling that energy continue to rise up through the left side of the body. And then triangle pose. Just reaching out, even if it's not all the way down. I'm just resting my hand on my thigh, up by my knee. That feels just right at this moment. To come out of the pose, let's start by bending the left knee so we have a lunge and some leverage so we can come back up, passing through a warrior 2 so we can reverse the warrior, left hand reaching into the air. And I think this is a nice way to kind of end the sequence, knowing that we went so deep down in self that we then rise up and reach up, maybe even look up, maybe to experience this an uplifting situation, because even in the depths of the storm, the eye of the storm perhaps, there may still be a way out, a way up. Let's windmill here. Bringing both hands down to the ground in front, rise up onto your tiptoes behind you, step back plank pose, complete your series as you'd like, perhaps chaturanga, low cobra, or an up dog. And meeting together in downward facing dog. Hold for just a moment. Go ahead and bring your knees to the ground. Sit back briefly in hero, not very long at all, just a couple of seconds, because we're going to slide off onto the mat so we can swing the legs around to the front. Find the center of your mat. And go ahead and roll down onto your back. Go ahead and bring the knees with you and just hug the knees into the body. You might just give yourself a little massage here by just circling the knees. At least for me, when I circle the knees, it kind of releases the low back and hips a little bit. So you can do that, or any other hip opener. So maybe happy baby pose or reclining cobbler's pose. Yeah, just add any other fluid motions there, or yoga postures that complement what you're needing at the moment. Again, just reminded how we're impacted by outside circumstances and how they could just move us so deeply sometimes, like the passing of someone. And certainly someone so significant. Take the time that you need in those continued hip releases. Whenever you feel finished, we can move into a twist. You might even take the knees down to the left side as you extend your right arm to the right side. You can keep your gaze upward just to protect your neck. But if you'd like and it feels okay on your neck, you can even turn your head to the right, looking in the same direction as your right hand. And it just creates a little bit more of that whole spinal rotation. Maybe you've been reminded on how you've endured many situations in your own life, obstacles and things that you faced. And what got you through? What allows you to be right here, right now? Two more breaths. And then carefully returning to center, even holding center. And then take the other side. And yes, if there's other poses that feel a little bit better or what you need, pay attention to that and honor that and take those positions. Twist if you're to the arm extending to the left, your gaze can be forward or even off to the left. And as you went along this journey this morning, think about what you may have discovered. Maybe you discovered something brand new about yourself. Or maybe you rediscovered a part of self that you forgot about. In either case, can you bring those things to the surface? Bring them up so they're perhaps a little bit more accessible, especially if they're useful. Let's take 2 more breaths. And then slowly moving, returning. Again, if there's any other movements you'd like to add right here, please feel free. It could be an inverted pose, another hip opener, a back bend, anything you might want to add here. But if you feel like you're complete
with all the movement, feel free to move right into Shavasana or any other restorative or relaxing position. That could be Shavasana, lying flat on your back, comfortably connected to the ground, with the earth supporting you. You might even come up to a seated posture or even lie on your side. Again, whatever feels right for you at this moment. Listen and honor yourself. Whatever place you settle in, maybe reminded of those new discoveries. And reminded of breath. Stay exactly where you are. No need to move. Just notice your breath. Once again, return to the awareness of your breath. This time taking 5 slow, deep breaths. Reconnecting. Perhaps returning from your journey from within. Perhaps returning with some new discoveries about yourself, new riches and treasures. Perhaps parts of self that help you endure. Those things that just give you that extra ounce of strength when you need it. As you're breathing in and out, feeling the breath move through your body, you might start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, Some light movement in your hands and your feet. Feel that movement return to your physical body. And perhaps awareness of these newly opened spaces. And after your fifth breath, moving in slow motion, roll onto either side of your body. Take your time. Maybe just a few moments in this nurturing pose, knowing that you did take the time for yourself. Being loving and kind and gentle to yourself. And still moving slowly as can be. Rise up to a seated posture. Sitting up nice and proud, nice long spine, shoulders gently rolled back. Smile internally, smile externally. And inhale and extend your arms into the air, reaching up. As you exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. Just hold here for a breath or two on your own. This place of stillness and ease and calm. And as we complete our practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste.